You want 10 to 15 reviews every single week? You're about to learn the formula. Stay tuned. Okay, we know how important reviews are today. You're on Amazon. You're not going to buy something unless you hear what somebody else has to say. This is all part of what's called social proof. Social proof is what do other people say about you rather than what you say about you. Doesn't mean people don't believe you, but you, as a consumer, if I ask you right now, you go on Amazon and you're going to choose a couple products, it's going to come down to the reviews. And how important is that to you? Well, if you're like most people, like over 90% of people, reviews are massively important. When it comes to a dental office, is that the case? Well, I think you probably already know the answer to that question. It's probably one of the reasons you're here. Your patients tell you they've read your reviews. Your patients have come in because of the content. Somebody they've never met convinced them about you, and that's why they're there. So we know they're important. But how do we get a bunch of them? Well, you might have a software system that sends out a reminder, sends out a link after a person's appointment. Let me ask you this. You've received those. You go to a place and they send you a link. Hey, we'd love to get your thoughts. It's not that you didn't have a great experience and you really appreciated the customer service, but you're just busy like the rest of us. Same goes for your patients. Your patients are time bankrupt. They might not be financially bankrupt, but boy, they have too much on their mind. So what is the key to getting 5, 10, 15, or even 20 new reviews every single week? Well, we have the formula. Now, the complete formula is covered in our new patient workshop, and that's a 2-day workshop. I'm not going to obviously be able to cover the entirety of what we talk about during that, but check us out if you want to find out more about that and you want to get the exact, full, complete formula. Boy, the people that go to that workshop, when they come out on the other side, they are seeing in their office 5, 10, or 15 new reviews every single week. But I'm going to give you the short version of it. The key thing about reviews is asking the patient to leave a review when they are in the practice right then and right there. Now, you may have heard, oh, you're not supposed to ask for a review when the person's on site. That would be false. That's absolutely false. All reviews came out of, originally, Yelp wanting people to leave reviews while they're at a restaurant. They're going to take a food picture, a site picture, give their thoughts about their experience at the restaurant, and that was absolutely not just okay, but expected. Well, that grew into what you see today. Google reviews, Yelp, of course, still, and Facebook, and there are other platforms. Please don't bother with those other platforms. Stick to those big 3. Top of the list should be Google. If you're in a major metropolitan area, Yelp is important, yes, for dentistry, and then, of course, Facebook. But yes, they want you to get the review from the customer, in your case, a patient, when that patient is on site. The things you need to know is that it can't be while the person's on your Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, if you have a Wi-Fi, guest Wi-Fi, patients go on your guest Wi-Fi, it's channeling all these reviews via your Wi-Fi router. That Wi-Fi router has what's called an IP address. You don't need to remember that. Internet protocol address specific to that router. And they have an IP address in their phone, and they have an IP address on a computer. Every single device has an IP address. If Google or Yelp see multiple reviews coming from the same IP address, Google and Yelp flag those as potentially fraudulent. So if you have guest Wi-Fi, put a password on it. If you have a password on it, change the password on it. Most people, they have a data plan. They don't need this. If they absolutely do, or that's just something you don't know how to change your password on, just have them come off your Wi-Fi during this process. So step 1, make sure it's from that person's device, not on your Wi-Fi. Great. Now you got to ask that patient. Some of your team might feel uncomfortable about that. Hey, can you help us get a review so we can get lots more new patients and we can be a big expanding practice? Well, if you're asking for a review like that, it's obnoxious, it's weird, don't do that. How do you ask for a review? Well, I'm going to give you the quick and short on this one. Let's pretend you're the patient and I'm your team member. Hey, Mr. Jones, how'd it go today? Fantastic. Happy to hear that. Well, listen, we work really hard to get those results around here. The reason I ask is that, today people, they don't want to hear from a dental office about a dental office. They actually want to hear from somebody who's been to that practice. And for that reason, could I ask you to share those same kind of words you just mentioned to me about your experience here and the practice in an online review? Well, Dan, I'd love to. I'm just a little bit busy. I got to get some lunch before I go back to the office. No problem, Mr. Jones. Listen, we do play a game around here. And if we get 10 reviews in a week, the doctor has to buy us all Starbucks on Mondays. We're so close to winning that game. I'll make sure it's fast. Can you help us win, please? Well, Dan, okay, yeah, let's do it. You guys deserve a nice big Starbucks. Just make sure you order a big expensive one. Doctor needs to take care of you guys. What do? Now, at that point, you just walk that person through the rest of the process. Again, that process we cover in full at the New Patient Workshop. But the most important part is the idea that you got to ask for that review when the person is in the practice. But why does this formula work? I can show you a list of clients that had 10 reviews, 12 reviews, 25 reviews that now have over 500, 700, 1,200, even over 2,000 reviews. What did they do? Well, first, they started asking patients. Second, they really trained their team around this idea. You don't just give this as a standing order to your team and expect them to just prosper and do well. No, everything that's new takes a little bit of grooving, right? And you got to shave off the rough edges. And that is done in what we call drill here at MGE. You might know it as role play, where you have one of the team members act as a team member, their respective position, and one of the team members acts like a patient. And they go through this process in the morning, right after the morning huddle, and then they switch it about. And the person who is being the patient is now the team member. The person who is being the team member is now acting as the patient. And you do that for about a week, maybe 2. Watch what happens. So that's the key thing. Make sure your team is kind of drilled on how to do this and they're comfortable asking for it. Second thing, put in an incentive. Not just for the Starbucks on Monday or whatever's important to you and your team. Could be the whole team gets lunch on Monday or whatever. Don't just have a weekly game. Have an overall game. Where are we going with this? Well, we're at 45 reviews. We want to be the most reviewed practice in the area. Well, we've searched all the local dentists, like dentists near me in Google, and the most reviewed practice has 500 reviews. Good, we're going for 600. We're going to set some waypoints. When we hit 200, we're going to do this and have, a night out, bowling and movies. And then when we hit 400, we're going to do this. And when we hit 600, man, it's a paid day off for everybody, or we're going to Disney World. Make it a big deal and watch your team. They glow, they shine. And when your patients find out that your team is being taken care of by you and they're playing a game, and they really get the picture that you're just asking them to talk about their experience so other people who haven't walked into this practice can get an idea about it. They're talking from their heart. You're not asking them to say anything. You're not buying the review. You're just asking them to share their experience. And that you are also taking care of your team. Patients love this. They love this. So, a couple key points to think with. First, you have to want this and you have to know that it's important. Second, there is an exact routine to bring about the result. That routine has to be known, grooved in, trained in on the team and such, and coupled with a game. Make it fun. People love going to work when it's fun. We know sometimes work, you have a rough day, everybody has a bad hair day, right? We've all been there. But if you can do things in your workplace to not just incentivize your team, but make the environment fun. We got our Disneyland game, and it's in the break room, and we got our thermometer on the wall, and we got pictures of Disneyland, and we're talking it up, and we're that far away from our 600. Guys, we're almost there. We're having a blast with it. To the patient, I really want your focus to be this. There are people out there, 1 out of 3 in the United States, don't go to the dentist. Did you get that statistic? This is not my statistic. These are independent studies. 1 out of 3 people don't go to the dentist. Why don't they go? Well, you know why. They don't like drills. They don't like needles. They've had a bad experience in the past. They don't understand the importance. So you've got people out there sitting on the sidelines. I got something going on, but I really don't know if there's a dentist that I can trust. I don't know how to find one. I don't want to go through 3 or 4 different offices and be shamed by this one, be tortured by that one. So they're going to go and they're going to check out. What do people have to say about you and your team? Well, you are asking your existing patients to say, hey, there's some people out there that won't go to a dental practice because they don't know who to trust. Can you just share your experience to help those individuals, the people that might not come in any other way. Would you help get a message out to those individuals? Because, you had the courage to walk in here. You took the leap of faith. You did so, and you won at it. But can you share with those people out there a little bit about how things went for you and how we did to mitigate the pain and how we made it a very personal approach and some of the things that, are important to you, but believe it or not, are important to them as well? Could you do that for us? Thank you so much. It's for them. And do you see the orientation? It's for them. It's for the patients that aren't in the practice. They haven't had the opportunity to come in and check things out and go through the process and feel it for themselves. They didn't feel the compassion. They didn't see the care level that you and your team exert on a routine basis. So it's exciting. It's an exciting endeavor. Again, come to the workshop. We'll show you the whole process. We'll get you all set up so that starting Monday, you and your team can play that game and get your Starbucks. I hope this tip was helpful. I got a bunch more coming. If you want those tips and more like it from all of us here at MGE, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and enable all notifications so you get alerted when these great tips come up. We'll see you on the next one.